Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, joined here with my good colleague, buddy and pal one, Mr. Brian E. Roach. And Brian, let me start this off by just asking, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm doing fine. Everything is fantastic.
I'm feeling a little run down, and I'm not gonna lie. We're already into week 3, and I'm feeling that way with the Steelers right now. We have a title for this show. We have a preview: Steelers and Patriots this Sunday, 1 o'clock on CBS at Gillette Stadium. They're on the road again for the second time in 3 weeks. 2 out of the first 3 on the road, and if you count next week, they'll be in Ireland. So a lot of travel. Team's a little banged up. You've got a couple of different things transpiring here, and we're going to try and figure out who needs this game more, the Steelers or the Patriots. Is this Patriots game a must-win for the Steelers at this juncture of the season? I guess we'll arrive at that at the very end, but let's start off with a little bit of game topics, context, set the series up. Both of these teams are 1-1, 1 win, 1 loss. New England Patriots, not with a new face as their head coach or even in their coaching staff. They've got Mike Vrabel, who formerly was of the Tennessee Titans. You know, he's one of these Patriots guys that comes off of the Bill Belichick tree. He also comes off the Bill Cowher tree, having played for him several years ago back here in the Steel City. A guy that he's one of the ones that got away that had a pretty good career post Pittsburgh. So and then he's got an offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels that's working with and operating with a second-year quarterback, Drake Maye. Surprisingly enough, the all-time series, the history of this, even without Tom Brady right now, it's 15-15. They're tied in the regular season, but New England has won 7 of the past 8. And 7 of that past 8, it's funny because this came up. I had some guys here to, do the dryer vent cleaning thing. I know it's a little personal, but he saw some of my Steelers stuff. He says, big Steelers fan, start talking to him, tell him about the pod. Hope he's watching. Sorry, I forgot the gentleman's name already, but he brought up the Jesse James catch, and I was like, SOB, that was also a Patriots game, wouldn't you know? And isn't it funny that referee isn't around anymore? But referee of this game is Cleet Blakeman, who we know all too well. At least he doesn't have an AFC North matchup this time around, Brian. So I know you just dropped your head right there. There might be some playoff implications since this is a conference game, AFC. I don't know what the Patriots will look like at the end of the season, nor at this point do we know what the Steelers will look like. But right now, Patriots are it's like the Steelers are going to have to chase maybe the Ravens. The Ravens look very high-powered or whatever, but on the other side of that, the Bengals have the 2-0 record, but without Joe Burrow. On the other side, the Patriots, they are looking right down the barrel of that Buffalo Bills gauntlet that's 2-0, so this one's going to be important for them as well and in front of their home crowd. So, having said that, let's jump right into the quarterbacks, because I think this is what's going to dictate the pace for this game. Aaron Rodgers, I know he had 2 interceptions, one that was ping-ponged around. Not really, I don't know his fault. Times he looked sharp, at times he didn't. He was rattled a lot. He's been sacked a lot. He's been hit a lot. It's got to be a lot cleaner for him in order to have any kind of impact on this game. And the Steelers have faced some pretty good defensive lines before the first 2 weeks heading into New England, and they're probably going to face probably a pretty decent group here too, especially when you consider the type of coaching from Mike Vrabel.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting you said I kind of flipped the script on this. I don't think it's the quarterbacks that are going to dictate this. I think it's going to be the running games that are going to dictate how this game goes.
Ooh, very well could be.
If in fact there is no running game for the Steelers, then it will dictate the fact that they have to throw all the time. The real question will be, can they stop New England from running? And that includes Drake Maye. I think what he is a score, rushing score as well as the 2 TD throws. last time around. You know, you like to say young quarterbacks have problems with Steelers defenses, and as history dictates, they normally have. Until something changes, I don't think anybody's going to have any problems with this defense.
Oh, yeah, I know. The Steelers, that defense is going to have to change, but just sticking to the quarterbacks for the moment, I wanted to bring up Drake Maye because a lot of people think second year, New England wasn't that good last year. But, so far this season, 49-69, 517 yards and 3 touchdowns, as opposed to Aaron Rodgers, 40-63, 447 with 5 touchdowns, 4 of those in the first game. New England is 14th in points scored, 19th in points allowed. The Steelers somehow are 8th in points scored. They had 40 or whatever in the first game or close to it. And then they're 34. Giving up 31.5 is what they're giving up, 29th most on average around the league. They're in bottom metrics against the run. They're 30th against the they're 25th against the pass, 28th against the run. They're actually 30th on offense in rushing and 18th in passing. Man, something's got to give because it's ugly, my friend. It is ugly. So we'll see, because I do think you're probably right. Even though it's Josh McDaniels and he's coached so many different people, they're probably still, even with a younger quarterback, you kind of want to lean on the same kind of people with that kind of with the style that they have. They still have I'm losing the tight end's name that I want to mention, Hunter Henry with New England, and then of course the running backs. Remember Ramondre Stevenson, he's usually kind of a battering ram type. You got Travion Anderson, a rookie out of Ohio State who we like. So they've it's not as though they don't have any weapons on their team, but at the same time, May's able to beat you in a few different ways. He could beat you with his arm, and he could also beat you on the ground.
Yeah, I just, by the way, don't say liked. We don't like him anymore. It's dead to me now.
Yeah, just they're all like
you're out of college. They're all dead. They're dead to me now.
We forget where they went to college when they're from that university up north, and they play for the Steelers too. So unless it's Tom Brady, then we still hold that against him because yuck.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just have a lot of concern right now about whether they're going to be able to stop the run. Stevenson is a bruising back. He's the kind of back that's going to get push. We've already seen far too often, linemen for the opposing team hitting the second level on top of the linebackers. The linebackers can't shed because they haven't been able to move and get away, and it results in big gains. God forbid Travion gets loose in one of those, because we know he's got breakaway speed. I'm just really looking at this as, if they can't stop the run, they basically have no chance of winning this game. That's the way this feels to me, right? So I'm going to be paying attention to that a lot. Loudermilk is going to be out.
We're going to get to some of the injury report here. There's quite a few, actually, and we can probably jump into that before we get that. Probably is a better spot to do that now than to get into our defensive concerns, because a lot of the concerns really hinge on all the guys that aren't going to be playing. For real. I'm going to pull up the injury report from yesterday, but we already know that Derek Harmon is trending toward out again, if Tomlin didn't flat out say that.
Well, depending on who you talk to. If you talk to Tomlin, he's questionable at best. If you talk to Derek Harmon, apparently he's ready to go.
No, he was limited. He was limited, though, with the knee, so that's an upgrade from where he has been throughout the start of this season. TJ Watt was a resting veteran, but you had Alex Highsmith with the ankle, Deshaun Elliott with the knee, Joey Porter with the hamstring. They were all DNPs, did not practice because of injuries. Slay was another resting veteran. Patrick Queen was full practice, even with the oblique, the rib injury that sidelined him, put him in the tent on Sunday. Max Sharping was limited because he got hurt in the middle of practice. I thought people were making that a little bit bigger of a deal than maybe I'm seeing this the wrong way. I don't know. But Ian Rappaport came out and was like, a huge blow, to the Steelers' depth. And I'm like, man, Max Sharping is probably like 51st or 52nd, maybe if not 53rd on the roster, close to being cut for some of the other moves that the Steelers have been making, which we'll get into here in a second as well. So some of the additions that they have on the Patriots side of things, Keon White, see a full DNP, due to illness. He's the only one on their injury report. Everyone else limited. Christian Barrymore was not injury related. Clavon Chazon, hamstring limited. Carlton Davis, corner. Christian Gonzalez, corner. Gonzalez has been struggling to get on the field for New England. Each of those guys, Achilles and a hamstring, so those aren't necessarily the easiest things to work through and then go play. Harold Landry, new pass rusher in New England with a foot, was limited. Marte Mapu, another linebacker with a neck. Morgan Moses, limited with a foot. He's one of the starting offensive tackles, formerly New York Jets, maybe somewhere. Ravens too, I think he had a spell with the Ravens and then the Jets, more than one with the Jets. Jack Westover, reserve tight end, a hamstring, and then Jared Wilson, a center with the thigh. So the injury bug is hitting everywhere around the league. People sometimes think that it's only the Pittsburgh Steelers, and because of that, they've had to go out and make some additions to this roster. And it's funny, they just added Jabril Peppers, a former Patriot who actually went through all of camp. And now they add another one this week with Jawan Bentley, who last year under Gerard Mayo, that's who I could never remember who it was the one promised the job by Robert Kraft. And then Kraft says, I made this big mistake. Now it's funny because he could have had Vrabel last year too. He was consulting in Cleveland, right? So, but this was one of Mayo's guys. This was also a guy that started with Bill Belichick. He's, Bentley, that is, Jawan Bentley. He was a captain in 2024, and previously, man, he is just a tackling machine. Like 3 seasons, over 100 some tackles previous to that, but he only played 2 games last year, was injured. Now I wanted to say pectoral muscle. I think it was a pectoral muscle too, that he had something like that then he was out for the season. I think he only played the first 2 games of the season, if I'm not mistaken. He's coming over to the Steelers practice squad. I said, okay, here's a run thumper guy. This is a Landon Roberts. This is a Vince Williams. This is a Lawrence Timmons kind of mold kind of guy that's probably not a 3-down backer, but somebody you need to bring in to help shore up and fill the gaps. So I could see that. And then Isaiah Hodgins, formerly of the Giants. Not much of a resume. He's like 6'3", 220-ish or something. Wide receiver.
There's your resume. That's it. No, I'm 6'3" and 220. That's it. That's what you know about me.
Yeah, I even thought maybe this was a special teams move because of Caleb Johnson, but I don't know. I don't know what the Hodgins move is all about when you still got Ben Skoronix and Scotty Millers that play special teams. Is he going to play over Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson? I kind of doubt it. So maybe he's just there just to kind of help get through practices and scout teams and stuff like that. That one is a lower profile than I would say Bentley, who could have a chance. Malik Harrison is another guy that's on injury reserve now. And the inside linebacker core, you had Queen that's a little dinged up. You have Holcomb, who still hasn't really played a full game of football since getting hurt back in November of 2023. And you have a second-year player in Peyton Wilson. So that one at least seems like, break glass in case of emergency. And maybe he has some, well, he doesn't really have intel on this team. He didn't go to camp with them. Maybe Peppers does. But maybe you see either or both of these guys because, defensively, as you said, we should be a little concerned with a team that allowed Sam Darnold to almost rack up 300 yards in passing and have given up well over 100 yards to each of their opponents through the first 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, my big concern is that we don't double dip this week and allow 2 running backs to hit 100 yards. I don't know what to expect considering what they signed Marvin Leal off the practice squad, so that potentially, you're going to see him get in and play. Not that he was a huge run stuffer, but they got to do something, right? I mean, you're starting to get real thin there with both Harmon out and now with Loudermilk going to be out. I just don't have a lot of reason to feel that things are going to get knit up this week. I think I had this as a loss at the beginning of the season anyway, just because it's going to New England. And I was like, if there's a game they're going to lose early in the schedule, it'll probably be this one. I certainly don't feel better about it, but I'm just concerned it'll get away from him. This is a game that scares me with the running game. It just scares me.
One thing, though, the running game, I mean, the Steelers just giving up gobs of points, gobs of runs, and everything else, and I just don't feel that maybe either side of these teams defensively don't look strong heading into week 3, because you have the Patriots, what they give up, 27 to the Dolphins. They didn't give up quite as much to the Raiders. They were in the 20ish range, but man, they let Geno Smith almost throw for 400 in that first week with Las Vegas. And it's like, okay, we haven't seen Vegas. We don't know what Vegas looks like with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. So you're guessing. It's kind of like how Justin Fields runs around and does his thing. But Tua completed over 80% of his passes. He had 32 attempts last week, 315 yards, 2 TDs, and a pick. I think Rodgers, if you give him some time, he's going to be able to.
That's the key part there.
Do something there. So I know we're jumping straight in with the offensive matchups, but if Gonzalez or Davis or both are kind of hurt, I think this is, you got to tip the cap for some DK Metcalf balls here. He's got to be able to grab them. Pat Fryermuth's got to start grabbing some passes. But the Steelers' run game's got to support some stuff. You can't have play action if you don't run the football or you don't run it well.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, if all they're going to do is pin their ears back because they don't believe you can run and come after him, he's not going to have any time. There's 2 key elements, right? Being able to run the ball allows you to back off those linebackers and to make everybody think about the run, so that they don't just pin their ears back and head towards the quarterback. When you can't run the ball, it becomes much less of a concern, and the defense keys in on passing. And we've already seen that the pass blocking is not fared much better than the run blocking. So they're going to have to be able to find a way to give Aaron Rodgers at least a little bit of time, or rethink the schemes and the passing attack that they're doing so that the ball gets out quicker. Without that, I don't know how they're going to operate functionally. They have to come up with a different method of operation so that they can try and take advantage of what they can do. I don't know what the can do part is right now, because it doesn't feel like they can do much.
Yeah, I'm hearing you on all of that. And, what else they're going to have to look at on defensively, the Steelers up against the Patriots or the Patriots offensive matchups. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson had 88 yards receiving last week. It's going to look like a mirror image of using Jaylen Warren and getting him involved in the pass game. They're doing the same kinds of things, except they're actually running a little bit better with the ball. Maybe not great, but Stevenson did have a 4.9 average. Henderson only had 3 carries for 10 yards last week. They're still trying to figure out where he fits on this roster. It also has Antonio Gibson, who, for years, formerly of the Commanders, this was a guy that, made his heyday on third downs quite a bit. So, and Drake Maye himself, fairly accurate. He could get off some of these passes, but if you could make him hold the ball just a little bit longer, that would go a long way. And I think that's where the Steelers defense is a little stretched right now. Thin in the secondary, thinner than they would like to be. Deshaun Elliott, maybe see where Joey Porter Jr. is at the end of this. And then, that's where I'm at. But I mean, Stephon Diggs is basically their biggest, or most name brand receiver that they have. And, Diggs is up there in age. He's in his early, is he 33 or is he may even be 34 at this point. But I don't know. He's not prime Stephon Diggs. But you didn't have to see prime Cooper Kupp last week either to see Cooper Kupp light it up. He's 31. I was really aging him some. He's going to be 32 shortly here at the end of November. So,
wow.
Yeah. So
he's in
dog years.
You're just mean.
Dog years when it comes to wide receivers, remember? So this is where we say they fall off, 31 and older, or 31's the last of the Mohicans, was, so to speak, with some of this.
Usually is, yep.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a big year last year in Houston. He got shipped off after Buffalo discarded him. He had a bunch of 1,000-yard receiving years there. So Steelers fans are likely familiar with the name, familiar with the player, and of course his time with the Minnesota Vikings, 11 years in the league. He might, there's something to be said about veteran guys who know how to run routes, etc. We need Ramsey and Slay to to play up to potential, and maybe you could use Ramsey as a chess piece as they wanted to. That really didn't materialize last week with Porter being out.
Yeah, I don't, there's just already so many pieces of the puzzle not in place. Last week there had to be communication issues. I know it was hinted at in some of the interviews, but there had to be, because you had people playing in spots that they hadn't been practicing in. And so I know Darius Slay mentioned in one of his interviews that communication could be a problem because this isn't the team that they envisioned it to be. But all the hype that was built up around this defense, to have it go so wrong at the beginning of the season is tough. I really think that once Derek Harmon gets back, once they get some other pieces back, we got a better shot at seeing improvement. But I mean, I have the same concerns I talked about in the post game. Where is TJ and what is he doing? Who's going to provide pressure off the other side if it's not Alex? So now you're going to have a combination of Jack Sawyer and Nick Herbig, who aren't going to be as stout defending the run as Alex Highsmith was. So now all of a sudden your run defense is again a little weakened. What are you going to do to support that on that side of the ball or the line? It's just problematic. Are they really, we talk about the wide receiver drop off. Are we just hitting that point with so many players who are veteran guys on our defense that in fact the defense has just gone off a cliff? I'm not ready to say that yet, but I'm getting close to thinking it. If this is another 31-point debacle, you really have to start questioning what they can do to try and improve.
I'd like to see more Cole Holcomb. See if you can have him in some football shape. I think he helps tremendously. You got to get your other starters on the field, and then you plug Derek Harmon in with that combination, and I think it's a completely different looking defense. Patrick Queen was saying there's no panic, so we shall see. But where will we see those? Where will we see this from, Brian? I'm bringing up your favorite segment here.
The map is, I don't know. I don't really know the Dora Explorer song about the map, but I'm like, the map, it's the map.
The blue this week, and I won't belabor this too much. There's not a whole lot of areas getting this game. There are a ton of games in the 1 o'clock window for CBS. There's like this small sliver.
Yeah, no, that's more. That's Northern like California. More color. That's like
they went with orange this time.
What's that little fruit candy that everybody likes?
Yeah, I did not look to see where everybody else was, but the Steelers are in blue. 1 o'clock.
Steelers are in blue.
Ian Eagle, JJ Watt again on the call for that game, and currently the Steelers are sitting here. Let's see, the betting line is over under 44.5. They are favored currently by 1.5, which is, I know, right? Who would have thunk it? So they think there's going to be a lot of points by leaky defenses, and the Steelers are still in
40
edge.
Plus over. I'd still take the over, by the way.
Yeah, just might. And don't forget, some of the points the Steelers gave up last week was due to special teams also. So
it was.
Brian, your predictions for this game, you're already going with the over instead of the under.
Right, well, I'm gonna go first to the bobble. Him. Well, I mean, I already scolded him. He got it wrong last week, but are they gonna win the game? He still thinks they're gonna win this game. The bobble is going a Steelers victory. I'm not. I don't think they win this game. I think that there's a chance that it's a better game. I said take the over. I might take the under. There's a chance that less points get scored. There's a chance, even with everything I just said, there's a chance that they figure out a way to get slightly better on defense if they can bottle up the run and get a little more pressure. It's funny. I read something that as far as a pressure defense, their numbers are really good, right? They're committing pressures on passes. The problem is they're not getting home, and they're letting guys get outside the pocket. That's fixable, right? If the pressure is actually there, and maybe it just hasn't felt like it because the sacks haven't been there, But if the pressure is actually there and they can get home, that can change a lot of things, right? So, maybe they find a way to limit the Patriots, and the Patriots don't go nuts and score 30-plus points. But I still don't see this team, with the problems they're having on offense, putting up 20-plus points. I see it as a loss.
As long as they don't make they can't give up almost 50% pressure rate to, Milton Williams coming over from Philadelphia. That's a guy you really wanted in free agency.
Yeah.
Half of this defense is on the injury report, so we'll see who plays and to what degree that they do. Robert Spillane is one of the inside linebackers, pretty good against the run, but anything else, I think he can be exploited. I think he can be exploited with these tight ends. Very familiar with him, and all the credit to him for carving out a pretty long and I guess well-paying NFL career post Pittsburgh. A lot of spot duty. He was with the Raiders for a little bit there too, so good for Spillane. I'm not gonna say anything ill of him. I think he probably fits better in a 4-3 anyways, as opposed to a 3-4. So that's where the Steelers, I think if they figure that out and they figure out the right combination of Queen, Wilson, and Holcomb here in the interim, maybe they call Bentley up just to see on some first and longs, goal lines, and stuff like that. He may have maybe a minor impact. I'd like to see Peppers get in just a little bit, so then you could free Ramsey. I'm still biased enough to think that this New England team, even though they're going to wear their Patriot throwbacks, I don't know that. I feel like the Steelers overall still have better talent. They can't have the mistakes that they did, and they win the Jets game because of a special teams play, and two special teams plays really, if you consider Skoranek covers that fumble punched out by Gainwell, and then the Boswell field goal. And then last week they lose it because they lose the momentum, they lose the whole game script there. So I think the game script's going to be about the same for both of these teams. They're going to try and just kind of eke it out and minimize their mistakes on both sides of the ball. Who does fewer of those? Maybe TJ Watt shows up. Teams, like you said, have been running away from him. So Herbig, Sawyer, somebody's got to do that. They just can't. I don't know what they do with Drake Maye. Drake Maye isn't necessarily a guy that's going to run around like a Lamar Jackson or something like that, but you can't let him just sit back there and process everything like Sam Darnold. So I don't feel like this is them going to walk away. If they do win this, it's probably by a Boswell field goal and 3 or less points, just enough to cover, because that's the way, Vegas and all the betting lines end up working. So not the most comfortable feeling in the world, but we got to answer the title question here as we close the show. Brian, must win for the Steelers? I've said this at the end of last season. I said at the beginning of this season, I don't think any game's a must win for them right now. And the reason is I don't think they must win. The point that I keep trying to get is I'm going to root for them to win every week. But if they don't, oh well, draft in 2026. I don't believe this team is ready to win. I know they're trying. I know that they made the moves that they made to try and win. So do I think this is a must win? I don't. Until something changes, I don't think they got to win anything. No, not yet. But I'm also going to say this is I'd like to win when you're talking about if you've got to chase the Ravens. Let's say the Ravens win the division and you're looking at one of these wild card spots. You need some conference wins for tiebreakers across the division. So this is I would like them to win type of situation.
There's another reason I would like them to win. Ohio State has a bye this week, and so I don't have a feel-good game on Saturday. So I need a feel-good game. I would like them to win simply so I can get out of the weekend having had one of the teams I root for win a game.
That's funny, man. I know you get these weird. Well, the Steelers that bye week might come at a good time. We'll see who's healthy, who's available to play. A little bit shorter of a preview and pregame for all of hins. If you missed, we had covered quite a bit of this in the post game too. So go back and check out that episode, the post game from the Steelers and Seahawks. That'll about do it for us for today, man. So
hey, where are they going to find us next time? Are we going to have a post game? Are we going to have a post game in the United States, or are we going to have a post game exit United States?
We can't wait that long, but we will have a pregame. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Pregame,
but
true.
It's right on the doorstep of a trip to Ireland. So We'll see. Well, hopefully they have a product that, you're not too embarrassed to watch when you get there. But man, these are some winnable games. It was winnable against the Seahawks if it wasn't for those mistakes. That's why I think maybe the Steelers can do just enough and not stink up the joint. But you never know. They have surprised us the other way too. So until then, Brian. Well, tell everyone out there to like, comment, and subscribe. My name's Joe. His name's Brian. Until next time, we encourage everyone out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.